Site plan for 196 East Main Street, Quarry Square Realty Trust. Before we turn it over to the applicant, I will read the town engineer's letter into the records. The submittal is for amended site plan review regarding Quarry Square site located at 196 East Main Street. Applicant is Quarry Square Realty Trust, 120 Quarry Drive, Milford, Mass. The revised plan dated October 15th, 2018, for the expansion of the transportation terminal now shows the transportation terminal utilizing 484 parking spaces of the entire plaza versus the 630 spaces submitted in September of 2018. The revised plan addresses the comments in my previous report dated September 26, 2018, from the town engineer, Mike Dean. With that, I'll turn it over to the applicant or his designee.
Guy.
I know, but I can actually see this one.
Oh, that's a smaller one, that's a better.
Oh, it's got colors though.
That was the newest one?
I can still see this one.
You saw it. I emailed it.
I'll do it after he does that.
If I didn't know better, I thought I penned that.
I was gonna say.
I was thinking about that today.
Sounded very familiar when I read
It
it.
did,
Go ahead.
All right, so my name is Brian Hassett, civil engineer, work for Gary and Helen. Right, we got the letter from the town engineer for the last meeting. As you just read, that we've met all of his comments that he addressed on there. Right, and to do that, the parking calculations have all been shown down on the side for all the existing uses, as well as the proposed uses for the Amazon parking terminal. We've eliminated all the parking spaces that require new pavement that was shown up here originally, so we're not going for those. Planning board comments from last time. We heard your comments and concerns that people were not parking in the designated area that they currently already have for the 166 spaces shown here in purple. So since then, we talked to Fafford talked to Amazon. They've implemented a parking pass system with designated colors and numbers for all the vehicles that they have out there. Any personal vehicle designated or outside of the designated 166 spaces is to be towed. I've been up there myself a couple times this week just to check it out. It looks like they're being a lot more compliant, if not 100% so. And then there were also some concerns about which specific areas we were designating the parking spaces to the terminal. We had been showing it initially in this 34 spaces and 27. We've gotten rid of that, and we've shifted it to over here, the spot that's a little bit more out of the way, just to kind of keep everything separated. Real quick, just go over what I got colored in here. I have the purple spaces that are shown. They're the existing, already approved 166 spaces. The blue spaces are the spaces that are existing. They're already there. We're just proposing that we allocate them to the Amazon parking terminal. And then the green spaces, these are the areas that have existing pavement. They just need to be striped, and we're proposing that we stripe them and then allocate them to the Amazon parking terminal. So with that, I'd like to turn it over to the board for questions, comments.
Questions from the board? Comments from the board?
I'll make a comment. I was by there today, and I did notice that the space that was okayed by the planning board, they were all in line, and they were there, and there was a strip on both sides, or on one side anyway, to see that they were in compliance of what we asked them to do. There were other places that few and far between, a couple of houses here, a couple of cars here, and some of the white trucks, but most of them were in that spot, which I find to be a good thing. I have a question about the ones that are, how many parking spaces are here?
Are in the green area?
Yes.
We have 75 in this longer strip, and then 15 up here. So that totals 90.
And the other side, with the
Up here?
oh, right next down that
Right here? Down here we have 51, but these are the existing ones.
Those are the existing ones?
Yep, yeah, existing pavement, existing stripes. We're just proposing that we allocate them to Amazon.
Designated, yeah.
And the one that's down below?
The only that's existing
Down
that's
here?
allowed so far prior to this is the purple.
Yes.
Anything, Lena,
Yeah,
what was already approved by this board was anything in the purple.
Just-
that I know,
Anything
yeah,
in the blue and then the green is what they're proposing there.
right. I just wanted to know what was the numbers, that's all.
Right, yeah, so there's
plan.
there's 51 spaces down here in
Oh, I'm on the
That's why you
small
gotta stick
plan.
with the big plan, it's easier to read.
Okay.
Just so it's clear to
these are
everybody
the
on
easy
the
questions
board.
though.
Thank you.
Just so it's clear to everybody on the board, what he's pointed out in the green space and what they had originally in the other space were all approved by this board many years ago.
Yes.
They were actually part of Quarry Square. They were supposed to have been put in, they were never used, and it's probably because the town requirements for parking were much more than needed. But all of that has been previously approved by this board, just so it's clear. The green spaces that they're now going to stripe were shown in the
It's already
original
paved.
Quarry Square. Yeah,
It's
they're
already
paved, and the other one that wasn't paved, or is partially paved, was actually part of the original Quarry Square. I know, because I did it.
And it
We have the
it
signs.
included a theater, didn't it, as one of the possible uses?
I don't remember how we did the parking, but I do know that those were included.
But that never got built. That building never got built.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was supposed to be up in the back behind.
Okay.
right.
Oh, you just.
But anyways, I mean, in talking about it, we're saying adding payments, that one should have been there. It is part of Quarry Square as was originally approved.
I
So it's clear.
understand that, Joe.
That was part of the theater that was supposed to be built, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's what Larry was just saying. I didn't remember what was included in the calculation, I just know it was part of the original development.
The plan appears to have gotten all of the parking off of the main drive aisle, so none of these vehicles are going to be backing into or needing to drive directly out onto the main drive aisle going through, either of the drive aisles going through.
We did receive an email, it's in your package, I'm not gonna read it all the way through, but I will try to highlight some stuff that was brought out in the article, or in the email that was sent to the board. It's a resident of 22 Ferguson Street in Milford. He's sending a note, he's unable to attend the planning board meeting, however, he wanted to bring up these issues. The Kmart Plaza was redeveloped and believe it was underestimated how traffic would be impacted at rush hour each morning and evening. Beaver Street is virtually at a standstill. One simple tractor trailer heading to or from Route 85 makes it even worse, and Quarry Square Plaza has existing parking spots allowed based on ebb and flow patterns of traffic resulting from customers visiting businesses. Currently, Amazon is more in and out. Added traffic volume of 300 to 600 vehicles, assuming 300 spots additional for drivers arriving and 300 spots for the new vehicles leaving. All at once at rush hour does nothing but make the Beaver Street 109 Medway area more difficult. Comment on why we do anything for Fafford. This board, I don't believe, does anything for anybody. It does what the bylaws allow, so I'm not even going to get into those issues. And he also talks about the courteousness of the drivers in the plaza, which I think was something that we had already addressed, and the applicant seems to have addressed in their own way to try to control that situation. So anyways, this goes into our records.
I do have a couple of quick questions, if I may.
Mm-hmm.
The specific, when we look at, I guess closest to the TD Bank, the 51 spaces, historically, that's generally where the lot has stored excess snow, if I recall, from year to year. And that general location has usually been his snow bank. So I'd like to bring to the board's attention that I'd be inclined to think that come snow, he's going to be within that general area, and if he's not, it's certainly going to reduce visibility for those individuals that are parking there. So I caution the board that I don't think that that's a suitable location. I'm not voting for it, as we all know, but I just want to point out that I don't think that's advisable in that general area, knowing that historically that's been his snowbank. The other thing that we have to be mindful of, obviously, and I think it's covered, is that you still do have a couple of active tenants within the building. One, I think Weight Watchers is one. I believe there's
Saks and UPS.
Yeah, there's a few other things. Now, again, I know that there's other, probably suitable parking for them that's closer in proximity, but again, as we look at this, or as you look at this, just be wareful, or be mindful of the snow. The other thing, up on the top 75 spaces, I went by there, I can't remember if it was yesterday or if it was Sunday, but I did note that there was some moving vans or trailers located there. So I guess my question is, where are those to be relocated? And does Mr. Fafford have a similar arrangement with them, that they have been utilizing that as off-street parking for themselves, meaning therefore they're going to be relocating someplace else on the site? So these are just things that I think that you need to kind of address. I did also happen to see that they put up, I guess, ropes and no parking, which regrettably, it's a sad thought that a potential customer to any of the other legitimate tenants that are there are being corralled into where they can and can't park. And with the threat of being towed, I don't really think that that's fair to a potential customer who perhaps wants to park a little further because it's a nice day and they want some exercise. I don't know, people do some strange things, and I don't think it's...
They were not, the threat of towing was directly from Amazon to their drivers.
The only question I have is, if you make a threat and then let's just assume that they go down there and they see cars parked within the outskirts of where Amazon's to be parking, how are you to know if it's an employee?
Because
They have the parking passes.
they have parking passes.
Okay, so...
Cars will, too.
No, okay. Now, I know a lot of people have parking passes that don't actually put them in their car until they get caught a couple times and they're forced to put it in their car, but a lot of people don't. So my question is, I understand what you're saying, but if you never put a parking pass in your vehicle for whatever reason, then how do you know? That's my point.
Well, if they're an Amazon, I don't care if an Amazon employee or subsidiary employee gets towed because he didn't put in a parking pass.
I'm more concerned
I understand.
for the potential customer who has nothing to do with this, the threat of them being towed.
Well, I would think with the parking passes being issued, I would think they would want them to provide a license plate as well along with that, and then they can look at the license plates.
Again, I don't know what their structure is, it's not my business to know, and I really don't care, to be frank with you. These are just random thoughts.
And the areas that they cordoned off are quite far from
The
where
existing-
they would be parking to access those existing.
No, I don't disagree with you, however, my wife's made me do some strange things over the years, under the guise of exercise, telling me that I need more exercise, so you'd be surprised what I've been forced to do over the years and walk miles
You
unnecessarily.
could monitor the
That's
thing
good.
and
I'm
call
not
it.
monitoring anything, I'm just saying.
Yeah, well, I don't, I mean, I'm not sure that there's a way for us to be able to differentiate that in any form.
They made a
I
significant.
mean, the thing was, we wanted them grouped together. Now we're saying, well, maybe grouping them together may not be the best thing. That
My only question is that the 51 spaces, if you look at the aerial photos, you can see the remnants of the snow storage pile that's down in that corner. So my question would be, are those 51 spaces able to be moved over into the middle aisle? Just add to.
Yeah, put them.
well, I think the question is more,
What's Weight Watchers gonna do? They use that.
is more, do we require
No, this is over
the applicant to remove snow as opposed to piling in that area?
over here.
Well, but how are we gonna enforce that?
If,
He's always put snow there, so this is the
Well, the problem that
latest-
we have now is that he always was able to do that because he had more parking than was needed.
Right,
He no longer has that situation.
exactly.
So, I mean, I think the option is, and obviously
The snow was always stored in
Down
the
the lower
area,
section.
in the area that's not striped
Right.
and,
Right.
but if,
Not in the striped
if it does,
area.
if it does get big enough,
oh, you'd have to
it
move it.
goes over that area.
Let's hope it doesn't.
For everybody's sake.
Right.
Well, other than that issue, I would recommend approval at this stage, subject to just adding the uses and the parking to the chart for building one. Because other than that, they've met
Mhm.
what you asked for.
Yeah, I mean, if snow storage goes in that area, I mean, I guess the option is to call back call back the applicant at that point in time and say, hey, wait a minute. Yeah, you're not doing what you say. He somehow has to find snow storage and keep those spots open.
Well, the
You
other
can't go
thing would
spreading
be to
it
label
around.
it, to also label it on the plan, so we can track it. If
The
they're
snow
gonna leave-
storage area,
Yeah, if you're gonna leave the 51 spaces where he's proposing them right now, then that other area that's got the lot 17E tag on top of it, just relocate that somewhere and call that out as snow storage area. Because I think it was on prior plans. On some of the older plans, there is snow storage area.
I think there's a
designated.
triangle in there that is. That's also the drive aisle for the drive up. It runs along there, so there's a triangle in there that's available for snow storage.
Yeah.
And we can certainly have them add that to the plan to indicate that's snow storage area.
Yeah. But subject to those tweaks, I'd
Yeah, I mean,
recommend
it-
approval, and then
yeah.
I could sign it if it comes in with those changes.
Any other questions, comments from the board? I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion that we approve the amended site plan.
Motion to approve the amended site plan. Do I hear a second? With the
With the-
with the
with the
additions.
stipulations.
And stipulations.
Yes.
Second.
Seconded by John. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of approving the amended site plan will signify by saying aye.
I,
Aye.
Opposed? 4 in favor, 1 opposed. Pat?
No, I think they know.
Put it in the
All right,
record.
has there been any progress at the headquarters to start doing the parking spaces there?
They've been up there for a month, and I can't begin to tell you why it's not done.
like,
I just can't begin to tell you. I don't know what they're doing or what they're not doing.
Okay.
Any other business before the board?
Actually, just before we wrap up, I just want to make sure I have the conditions straight here, that we're going to detail the businesses that are currently here, their parking spaces, and then we're going to
At the snow storage where 17E is indicated on the drawing.
designate a snow storage area down here.
Yes.
Okay.
And add the parking ratios
Yeah,
to
he
the
said,
chart.
that was the first thing he said.
Okay. So aside from that, then I do have a preliminary subdivision to submit. Check on all the applications there.
So
And
we're
then
only
all
using
the copies of
20.
the plan.
You can give it to Larry.
Where's this?
Easy, babe, I'll get there.
Okay.
Application for approval of preliminary plan. Name of subdivider is Frederico and Lisa Canaro, 4 Ben's Way, Hopedale. The deed property is, no one's gonna know that. Location approximately 3.14 acres with an entrance at 109 Depot Street. So it's off of Depot Street.
That's on the-
It's
Side
right
by
by Fruit, it's right by, it's right by the corner of Fruit Street, and it's, I think it's a few houses down. There's a old house or something
on the
on
one that faces.
Depot
this-
Street.
Depot Street and Fruit Street, and there's a stop sign
$900
there.
check, by the way,
Across
Karen.
from
900.
Oak Ridge or Pheasant Run, it used to be
That's
called.
Scioli.
Larry.
Yeah, no,
Scioli's old place.
it's right in that
Frederico and
area,
Lisa
yeah.
Canaro.
Oh, what is he looking for?
Yeah, so they're, I believe we might
Larry,
have,
do I
I
have
don't
to
know if we
initial
brought it in
these?
front of the board,
No.
but previously they had looked at putting a small subdivision in there, and
I remember that.
and then they bought, property on Fruit Street that also had property that went back and connected.
Yeah.
So now
I know.
there's a little
We'll
more
be able to do
land.
this on the
I
20th.
don't know.
November.
Yes, that's correct.
Well, Father Scully's.
And they want, and they
Father's-
want duplexes.
Yeah,
Naturally.
that's not gonna happen.
Well,
As you
it
know,
could.
our
I mean,
next-
You gotta wait and see what the.
Yeah, that's
you
neither
gotta
here
wait
nor
and see
there.
what how they subdivide.
Yeah, the lot configuration.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's a lot better than the other Fruit Street.
Go ahead, Joe.
The,
That hasn't done anything.
we're not meeting, first Tuesday in November,
Right.
that's election day, so just so everybody's aware. Our next meeting is. 20th, yep, November 20th. Looking at December,
Fourth is the time.
The 4th is the party, you said?
fourth,
last time?
yeah, what I was planning on was fourth would be the annual planning board Christmas party, and we would have our meeting in December on the 18th, if that's okay to the board.
So when's
when's the meeting?
What date?
18th,
The 18th.
Would you commit it on the 11th?
yeah.
Okay.
All right. Sounds like a plan.
Adjourn.
Motion made that we adjourn, we hear a second?
Sure.
Second.
Second, John. Pat seconded, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, unanimous at 5. Thank you and good evening.